Yeah, but come join us.
The first page is...
Yeah, you can never start for the beginning of a new thing. Always start at the end of the old one.
This is the Daf Aleph of the Daf Bais.
So, I said as much as I believe in the Kayach of Torah, but it's not going to make him any less of a chassid. It's not powerful enough. Okay. So, Rav Papa was a student of Rabbi and the Bais. So the Gemara here says Rav Papa is talking to Abaya, but some say that he said it to Rabbi. It says, Rabbi Yochanan the Mukala b'Balma Meikari. Rabbi Yochanan established the Brisa. When was it allowed to be redeemed, an animal that had died already? That was only talking about if the animal was consecrated after it had a mum. And everyone agrees to that. The Gemara says, V'loi? Is that really so? What's the hey here? Does everyone really agree to that? It says, Kol HaKodshim, all sacrifice, Shekadamum Kavol Ekdesha. That it originally had a mum, a blemish, it's not eligible, and then he consecrates it, V'niftu, and then he redeems it. So, it's getting redeemed here, which is good. V'chayavim be'b'chayra. Now that it's redeemed, then it becomes a mundane animal, and if it has a child, that child could be a firstborn animal. Ubmatanis. And it's a mundane animal. If you slaughter it, you have to give certain gifts to the kohen. And it becomes a regular mundane animal that you can shear the wool, you can work it in the field. Its milk and its offspring are permissible, after it's redeemed. It's more than pater, you're allowed to shecht it outside the temple. Very nice in Temurah, of course there's no Temurah there because it's not a consecrated animal. And if it dies, you could still redeem it afterwards. What are we talking about here? Okay. Now that's a problem. Rav Yehuda Marav says Zudiv Reb Shimon because everyone agrees to that. Why does he need to say Zudiv Reb Shimon? We'll see. The Amar Kachim Mizbeach Chayu B'Chlal Amad V'Aracha Kachim Bedekabayas Loi Hayu Kidetanan, as it was taught in a Mishnah. Reb Shimon Aimer Kachim Bedekabayas Amesu Yiftu. Kachim Bedekabayas, if they die, they can still be redeemed. Umaydu Reb Shimon Balmo Meikar Shenifta. And Reb Shimon agrees that a Balmo Meikar can also be redeemed, even though usually Kachim Mizbeach cannot be, but Balmo Meikar can yes be. My time Damakra Isa Lamuti Balmo Meikar. Aval Chachamim Aimrim. The Chachamim say no. Even a Balmum Meikari needs to be redeemed only while it's alive. In Amar Lei, he says, Man Chachamim. This must be Rav telling to Rav Papa telling to Abaya Rava. Who's the Chachamim? Tanad Be Levi. Remember, Levi held that you can never redeem it if after it dies, even if it was consecrated after it had a blemish. So the problem is, this is Reb Shimon and everyone else that argues with him. Everyone agrees that if it was kadam muman le'ekdesham, that you can always redeem it even after it died. Amalei Haid like Taniach, he says this that it doesn't say that. Rav holds like Rish Lakish. And the Amal Rabbanan Kachi Bedek Abayas Hayabachlal Amad Varacha. In Kachi Mizbeach Lai Hayu. He holds that really sacrifices don't need to be redeemed. And we only read half of the Brisa. If you would read the other half of the Brisa, you would see that the Rabbanan don't agree with it. So because of that, because this was Rav that was telling Rav Yehuda whose opinion this was. Now based on the part of the Brisa that we have, it's true it would fit according to both. But if you read the full Brisa, you'll see that it won't fit according to Reish Lakish in the Rabbanan, and that's why Rav said that. Reish Ktani b'Mesu Yiftu, v'Seif Ktani Yemesu Yikparu, and it's not going to fit according to the Rabbanan, according to Rav. Viba Yisema Rav Rabbi Yochanan Tzvirli. We could also do it differently. We could say that Rav holds like Rabbi Yochanan with the Kakashalach. We had a question. Zu Divrei Shimon Machlekasei mi Bailei Emachanami. Let's change it. say that that's what he means. He says this is the words of Reb Shimon and those that argue with him because the contrast was Levi. Levi was the extreme opinion. We said this is Reb Shimon, but it means Reb Shimon and the Chachamim that have a different opinion than Levi. Okay, let's start the next Mishnah. See how far we can get. Ve'elohein hanikbarin. This is a very important Mishnah. We're discussing things that are either forbidden to have benefit from, or they're not eligible for sacrifices, and they need to be destroyed. How do you destroy it? So there's only one thing that we are familiar with that you need to destroy, is chametz. But we also have basar b'chalav needs to be destroyed. We're going to see that there's differences in how you destroy it. One of the key differences is that are you allowed to use it while it's being destroyed? In other words, can you use the fire? Can you use the ashes? Can you use the ashes after it's burnt? That could be good for, fertilizer or other things. If you get itchy, so they used to put ashes on spites or something. Okay, so let's see. Elohin and Nikbarim, these are the ones that the rule is that they need to be buried. Kachim Shei Pila. A sacrifice, a female sacrifice that had a miscarriage. So Yikpru, the fetus needs to be buried. Yipila Shilya. Let's say it only gave birth to a placenta, to the afterbirth. So that's also to cover. Because we say that in Shilya B'lai Vlad, there must have been an offspring in there, we just got disintegrated or whatever. Shor Niskal, an ox that killed a man. It needs to be stoned. It needs to be killed, and what do you do with the flesh? You bury it. Egla Rufa, when you break the neck of the animal when someone dies outside the city, what do you do with the animal? You bury it. Sipari Mitzayra, the birds of a Mitzayra during his purification, what do you do with the meat? You bury it. The Seir Nazir, the hair of a Nazir, we're going to get into this in the Gemara. What do you do with that hair? They send it to India and they make it into shaitels. No, it says it has to be buried. Petech Hamar.
First it goes to Italy also.
That's right. It gets boxed in Italy. It says imported from Italy. Like the olive oil. It says bottled in Italy. So, Petech Hamar, if you don't do the redemption of the Hamar, then you need to break the neck of the Hamar. So what do you do with the meat? You bury it. Basar b'chalav, milk and meat that gets cooked together, gets buried. If a non-sacrifice was slaughtered in the courtyard, in the temple, it needs to be buried. Reb Shimon has a concern. Reb Shimon is Reb Shimon ben Yochai. He has a concern that if you're going to bury anything from the temple courtyard, you're going to think that's what you do with sacrifices that are invalid. And that's not true. Sacrifices that are invalid are burnt. So he says, in order to destroy this non-sacrifice that was in the courtyard, you burn it as well. He goes to the extent that even if it was so not eligible to be in the courtyard, and there's no way of getting mixed up that this is what you do with sacrifices, because it was a deer, you never bring a deer as a sacrifice. He says, nevertheless, you still burn it because it's coming out of the temple. You might think that that's what you do with invalid sacrifices of the temple, is that you bury them. He says, no, you burn it. This is the list of the things that are burnt, besides for Reb Shimon's opinion before. Chametz b'Pesach is burnt, Yisarif. Truma Tmeya. If Truma becomes Tameh, it can't be eaten, it's burnt. Va'arla. Fruits of the first 3 years is burnt. Klaya Kerem. If there's grain that grows in a vineyard, that's also burnt.
You have to actively burn the food or just let it exist?
Well, that's a kasha. The Gemara Bracha says about slav, it says a part of the fruit, it could be in Eretz Yisrael, you have to. But the Gemara says Yizarik, you throw them away. The kasha is what do you mean Yizarik? The Mishnah says Yizarik. Klaya Kerem, these mixtures in a vineyard, Eshedarkan Sarif Yisreif, what's meant to be burnt is burnt. Eshedarkan cover, you cover, and what's meant to be buried is buried. The Gemara is going to explain what that's referring to. Madlikim bepasa b'shemen shel truma. While you're burning this, if you're burning truma, you could actually make a fire to use if it's bread or oil. Oil is fuel. Any sacrifice that was slaughtered out with intention to eat it out of its time or out of its place, really yisrafu, those get burnt. Asham Tali, very interesting case. The person thinks he did an Aveira, so he's bringing an Asham. It's called Asham Tali. He's not sure. There were two pieces of meat on the table. One of them was Chalev, one of them was Shuman. He ate one of them, and his wife comes home and says, "Which one did you eat?" He says, "I ate the one over there." Says, "I don't know which one. It could have been the Chalev." So he has to bring an Asham. She says, "I left the maid's meal and I left your meal right next to each other." So, but then what happens is, after the shechita, he then finds out that he ate the right one. They did it. They sent it to the lab, whatever, and they found out which one he ate. So he knows it wasn't a valid sacrifice. He ate the good one. So you saw if it gets burnt. Rabbi Yehuda covered. Rabbi Yehuda says no, that gets buried. Chata seifa bala safek. This is a woman gave birth. Let's say she has to bring a chatas. So, but she wasn't sure if it was a vlad, how long she was pregnant. It was some sort of miscarriage or something. Was it okay? Whatever the case is, so it's a sacrifice that's not eligible. So it's tisarif. Rabbi Yehuda says it's a bird. It's a little thing. You could put it into. There was a stream that went through the temple. You could just put it into that stream, and it would go out, and it would get washed down and like fertilize the land down the hill. So on. I don't know if that's where it goes, but okay. Kol hanikbarin, everything that gets buried la yisrafu should not be burnt. Kol hanisrafim, anything that's burnt la yikbru should not be buried. You have to be very specific about this. Rabbi Yehuda says, if you want to be strict, to burn those things that get buried rashai, you're allowed to. You could be extra strict and burn everything, torch it. So teenagers would like that. Amrulai, they said, "Ain't no mutal." They said, "No, I got to follow the rules. That gets buried. That gets." Okay. The Gemara asks, "Seir and nazir you cover." We said that the hair of a nazir gets buried. This is a problem. Ramile Tavi Rab Nachman. Tavi sounds like Rabbi Gamliel's servant, but this is talking to Rab Nachman. Nachman wasn't around, but Rabbi Gamliel. It says Tanan. This must be an Amira with the same name. It's taught in the Mishnah say Nazir you cover that you bury the hair of a Nazir veramino, but we have a brisa that says Ha'erig Malay Hasit Mitzemer Bechar Bebeged Yidalika Beged. Malaya sit is this distance from the thumb to the finger, as far as you can stretch it. I think that's what it means, from here to here. That's a measurement. If someone weaves that measurement into a cloth from the wool of a Bukhari animal, so that was a sacrifice. You're not supposed to use that. You have to burn the cloth. Misayar Nazir upetach hamar besak. If he does the same with hair of a Nazir or hair of a chamar, and he weaves it into a sack, so yudalik, it gets yudalik asak, you burn it. You burn it, we said you bury it.
I'm sorry, why is the Nazir even mentioned here? Everything else is animal.
Nazir's hair gets shaven.
It's a human being. Why do we bring this?
No, we said
we're
basar
talking
b'challah.
we're talking about items that have to be buried.
Chametz.
What about the bris of a person? Isn't that buried?
That's not a din that it's usher. That's buried because that's what we do to people. We didn't mention over here that we bury people.
Oh, okay.
We put it in things that are forbidden for other reasons. Amalei, kan benazir tameh, kan benazir tar. It's the difference between if the nazir was tameh or tar. If he's tar, the pasuk says you throw it into the fire, you burn it. If he's tameh and he has to start over, so that's where you say you bury it. Amalei shanis nazir, shanisa nazir. You answer nazir. But petach hamar kasha. But what about the petach hamar? That he didn't answer. Ishtik is quiet. He doesn't respond. Maybe you heard something. This is Rab Nachman asking Tavi. Yes, I know what Rav Sheshes says. Kan besak, kan beseir. Rav Sheshes apparently was fluent in all the brises. He says depends. Was it woven into a sack, or was it still alone? If it's woven into the sack, then it needs to be burnt. When it's alone, it's buried. Why? because it won't disintegrate fast enough if it's woven in. So that's why you need to burn it. Itmar nami amar Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina kambasak kambaseyer. Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina has the same answer. Rabbi Lazar mekan benazar tar kan benazar tamei. There's a difference between if it's tar or tamei, like we answered before. Amalei, he asked him libatal sak beruba. What it means to say is that when you started to weave this into the sack, let it be batal over here. Rashi points out over here that we don't say bittul by kalayim because it was never usher yet until the whole mixture creates the yisr. But over here it was forbidden, so it should get batal. Amrav Papa bitzi porta. We're talking about that you made a beautiful embroidery in it, and that's why it's not batal. That you could take out. We're talking about Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that says you're allowed to burn it. I asked you if I could take it out. And you tell me that if I want to burn it, I could burn it. This is what he means. If you want to take it out, take it out. And if not, if not, Rabbi Yehuda says you could burn what's meant to be buried. Eily and Nisrafim, these are the ones that are burnt. Amar Mar, Chametz and Pesach Yisarif. We learned Chametz and Pesach, you burn it. Sasam Lantanik Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Ein Bir Chametz El Esreifa. This goes according to Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that says that Chametz is supposed to be burnt. Truma Tmei Va'arla. We said that Truma Tmei and Arla is also burnt. HaKetzad, what did we mean? Eichlam B'Sreif Mashkim B'Kvur. Actually, what it's saying is those things that are burnt are burnt. Those things that are buried are buried. So we're talking about food could be burnt, but mashkin, you pour it into the ground. Chatas ha'oif, we said Tanya, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, chatas ha'oif ha'bal ha'safik yetilen la'ama. Chatas ha'oif, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you put it into the water, to the stream. Umanatcha, ever, you cut it limb by limb. V'zark la'ama, meskalel s'velech s'nachas kidron, and it goes down to Nachal Kidron. That's the stream, the valley on the side of the Temple Mount. Okay, we'll finish after, and Moshe will make the same first.
That doesn't